course, we have to talk about the surge with Bitcoin. Longtime Bitcoiner Mike Novogratz says this is the clearest trade right now, although he doesn't just say Bitcoin. Long gold, euro, and Bitcoin. And he believes that Bitcoin will reach 40,000 very easily, especially since we are at that time where the Fed stops raising rates and could even start cutting rates. Okay, and I've said that too. I don't believe the Powell is going to raise rates anymore. I think that's it. Where we are right now, 4.75 is pretty much done. But there's this notion that maybe he will be cutting later this year if the economic data continue to show weakness, right? So Mike Novogratz agrees, like, hey, if the Fed is about to pivot, you want to be in, because that's usually when things get wild and crazy and everyone starts, starts making boatloads of money if you're an investor. So that's what Mike Novogratz thinks, right? But right now we know Bitcoin is just moving according to schedule. Obviously, we have economic data that shows that there's softening and weakening, which is exactly what Powell wants. That's what he wants. He wants job growth to slow down. He wants the unemployment go up. He wants to see softening with purchases, with retail purchases, manufacturing, everything, right? And we're starting to see all that already. But now with the banks, I know this is what they said because this was 2 weeks after the SV bank failure. But since then, they have been spinning up the money printer and they have been loaning out money left and right for the past month. That's why the Fed balance sheet went up about 500 billion since last month. So I don't know. I think this data is a little bit outdated. I'm going to stick by with what I said this morning. With banking weakness, okay, and with inflation coming down, other stuff that's happening around the world right now. There's just a lot of things at play. But I think this next FOMC meeting, we will not get another rate hike. I think we will stay. Even though there are people that are predicting or saying that the Fed will increase rates another 25 basis points twice to 5.5%. This is a very fluid market. We will get more data this month before the next FOMC meeting, and I just don't see it. So I'm going to stick by with what I said, and I believe it is right. But we will see. But overall, whether you have recession or whether you have more inflation or if you have both, how do you hedge against it? Well, you guys know already. You hold and buy some Bitcoin, okay? And the one person, I shouldn't say one because Peter Schiff, Jim Cramer, they're also in the group. But Warren Buffett still does not believe in Bitcoin. Says people like to play the lottery, okay, which is what the crypto craze is, including Bitcoin. He could just say, okay, maybe the rest of crypto is like playing a lottery and Bitcoin is different, but no, he's labeling everything together. It's appealing to the gambling instinct. We had an explosion of gambling. So he believes invest in Bitcoin, it's gambling. I don't think he has all the facts or he's ignoring the facts. Okay, I don't think within his lifetime he will ever change his mind, but Bitcoin is far from gambling. When you have a commodity, you have a digital currency, you have a store value that's being embraced by countries, by institutions. It's hard to say that that's gambling, like everyone is just gambling over Bitcoin. No, because it has proven itself, right? But Warren Buffett, I don't believe, will change his mind ever. But you could consider Michael Saylor a gambler because he put in $4 billion into Bitcoin, but his Bitcoin strategy has worked. He has broke even, actually not broke even. He is in the green now through all his DCAs. And since MicroStrategy adopted its Bitcoin strategy, Bitcoin is up 152%. Versus NASDAQ, versus S&P, versus gold, silver, and bonds, right? So who's gambling? I don't know. I don't think it's Michael Saylor. Maybe he just was so, after being educated, he just had that conviction and faith, and he knew that this was the right move, right? Sometimes you just know, and it's not gambling, right? Well, so far, he's right. He's right. And states, covered Arkansas, I think a few days ago, Texas, right? They want to protect Bitcoin miners. Montana wants to protect Bitcoin miners. Is this gambling when states are now issuing laws to protect Bitcoin miners? Is that considered gambling? I don't think so. Because these states are collecting revenue. They're beefing up their energy grid because they know Bitcoin miners take a lot of energy, right? But overall, it's a win-win situation. They get to upgrade their power infrastructure and collect more revenue. What's not to like about that? I'd say nothing. Okay, we got the big halving event coming up. Here it is. Right now, we're in the green, and you can see how similar it is to previous cycles, right? I mean, Bitcoin just, you can't stop Bitcoin no matter what the conditions are. And short term, you can have bad actors, you can have black swan events, you could have a whole bunch of stuff thrown at it, but ultimately, it's moving the same way as always done since 2009 when it debuted, right? So, I mean, if you look at that, so similar, right? And we are at that point when Bitcoin starts moving upwards, right? Again, the timing of it all correlates. This is all fantastic stuff, right? But, if you zoom in a little bit rather than zoom out, if you look at the fractal pattern compared to 2019 or the movement, it's so similar. It's so similar. Now, there's a lot of theories that we're not going to be following this because we might actually start pumping way before the halving event. In 2019 and also in 2017, we kind of started pumping after the halving event. Pre-pumping a little bit before the halving event. You could see in 2019 from the bottom, Bitcoin went up 320% before it really started moving, right? Right now, we're up about 82% from bottom. So are we going to hit that 300% before the halving? Yes. But there are many people think that, no, it could go even further than that. Screw the halving event. With all the fear about banks and everything else, we may just start going up before the halving event. Way more than that. We'll see which one turns out to be correct. But nevertheless, we are heading higher. We're heading higher. And here's another one that looks at the trend line of the last two cycles versus now. And this has never been wrong. Whenever you break above that trend line from the previous top, that's when the new cycle starts. That's basically it. 2015, you see that trend line broken, boom. 2019, boom. Right now, 2023, boom. We're right above it, looking good. Looking real good.